יהי רצון, פרשת חיי שרה, לימוד שבלרפואת כל החולים, ובתוכם תני בת הודה מרגלית, יוסף יאיר בן אביב וחווה, הרב סיוון בן סימה, בתוך כל השאר חולי ישראל, לעילוי נשמת, מוין ורבנו, Rabbi Sachs, Rav Feinstein, Gdolei Dor that we lost this week. Bezat Hashem, Chayei Sarah opens up with a pasuk, Vayiyu Chayei Sarah, 100 shana, 20 shana, 7 shanim, Shnei Chayei Sarah. And it's a famous pasuk. It's one that all of us grew up with. And it's very clear in the pasuk that it emphasizes the word shana. The word shana appears in the pasuk 4 times, and it separates Sarah's life. 100 shana, that's 1 unit. Esrim shana is another unit. 7 shanim is another unit. And there's the famous Rashi that explains that it's giving us a description of how Sarah lived her life differently. That when she was 100, it was as if she didn't sin like a 20-year-old. When she was a 20-year-old, it was like the beauty of a 7-year-old. That's this pure, innate beauty of a child. That's what Rashi teaches. But the question that the Sfat Emet and many of the Hasidic masters deal with is, what is this teaching us about Sarah? What does this mean about Sarah? That the way that she was described is Vayu Chayei Sarah. That we're describing her death, but the word is Chayim. And not only does the pasuk open with Chayei Sarah, but it ends off Shnei Chayei Sarah. That it's emphasizing life much more than the actual description, which was the end of her life. And more than that, what does it mean about Sarah that she was 100 and she was 20 and she was 7? And so the Sfat Emet explains something miraculous about Sarah's life. That Sarah was someone that was constantly challenged. The first presentation of Sarah in Parak Yud Aleph and Breshit is that Sarah akara ein la valad. That's her presentation. She's presented as a mother that not only is barren, ein la valad, to emphasize the level of challenge that she's going through. She has to abandon her life. She has to go down to Egypt. She has to follow the story of her being taken to Paro's home. She gives Hagar 5 minutes later. Hagar has a child. Like the easiest thing. How difficult that was for Sarah, to see how easy it was for her. And then even after she has the child that she wanted, she sees that there's things going wrong with Ishmael. And every time we meet Sarah, it's the idea in Chassidut called din. It's very much dealing with a world of challenge and challenge and challenge. But what the idea of her life was that Sarah was never controlled by the challenge. That she was 100 years old, naturally, but she was living like a 20-year-old. That nature was saying, Sarah, you're 100. But she's living like she's 20. And nature was saying, Sarah, you're 20. But she looked like a 7-year-old. She was so pure. And so the idea that the Sfat Emet develops is that Sarah is met by so many natural challenges, but she's so surreal. She's so internal that nature is just next to her, but it doesn't affect her. It doesn't control. It doesn't define. It's just an addition. And Sarah's life was the idea that we need to understand that nature is an aspect, but it's not a definition. That in nature, she didn't have a child. But then she understood that that's an aspect of reality. But it's not the definition. And there is another option. And so it's not that she was ignoring nature. She was well aware of the challenges that she was going through. She was well aware of almost losing her child. And she was well aware of raising her child. And she was aware of the challenge of the famine. But it was always an option. It wasn't the option. And she was willing to teach us that the first Ima of Am Yisrael is educating her children to look at nature as a possibility. But if there's a possibility, then there's always another. And if we don't believe that there's another, then we will not understand the story of Am Yisrael. Because there is challenge, and there is difficulty, and there is the loss, and there is the negative, and it's all real, but it's one side. And Sarah saw the other side, and chose to present us a world that you can be 100, but you could think yourself as 20. You could be 20, but think of yourself as 7. And if we live a life of options, then we'll start to understand why Sarah was the one that opened Me'arat HaMachpelah. Me'arat HaMachpelah meant that she was giving an endless message that we have to always seek the other option. We're looking at someone, we're upset at them, but maybe there's another reason why they're acting the way they're acting. We're looking at ourselves and we're mad at ourselves, we're upset at ourselves. Sarah says, look at me. It's true, but there's another aspect of you. And if we can't see the salt and the sugar, then we'll never ever be able to make a cake. Because what makes it is that it has two options within it, and that's the only way to create something great in our lives. Shabbat Shalom.